Hear that? Yes, these are the sounds of the roughly 200,000 text messages being sent every single second. With the surge in cell phones and even more recently smartphones, texting has become more prevalent than ever. Everyone is doing it. Kids in elementary school, teenagers, parents, and grandparents alike have hopped on the bandwagon. But have we looked before jumping on? Texting offers us instant communication with other people that doesn't interrupt our daily lives. Or so we think. What has texting really gotten us but a generation of people buried in their phones at all times? You all know what I'm talking about. The person constantly checking their phone every second on the second to respond to a half-thought-out assembly of letters and numbers that are equivalent to a sentence of information. This was all thought up, typed out, sent, received, opened, read, and responded to. Quite a lot of effort for 3 or 4 letters if you ask me. Because of this, your 3-minute conversation is now carried out over hours, oftentimes having to send 3 or 4 messages to get across your half-sentence point because of misspelled or miscorrected words and thoughts that could have been corrected quickly or would be non-existent in an actual conversation. Not to mention the social aspect of texting. I don't know about you, but it seriously bugs me when I'm hanging out with someone and they are constantly checking their phone. Like when you're having a conversation with someone and are constantly interrupted by them checking their phone and responding to a text while you're talking to them. Not only is it hard to have a meaningful conversation with someone who is texting, but it is harder still to have one with someone you are texting. Not just because it takes forever, but because it completely strips your ideas of emotion. Unless you use emoticons, of course, but a large majority of the time, it's like feeding a piece of music into a computer. Which, emotion-wise, is no match for this. Actually being able to hear someone's voice adds a whole other layer of depth to your conversation. But how can I achieve this, you ask? I have a solution. It's called a telephone call. Once upon a time, almost 200 years ago, people communicated through text messages much like they do now. And as in the early days of texting, you had to pay by how many words you had, or pay for each message to be sent. Then, some very smart people came along and said, wouldn't it be great if I could actually talk to someone instead of sending them a text message? The telephone was born, and opened up to us a world of greater communication with each other. Talking to people is a lost art. And in my opinion, this stems directly from the overuse of text communication in our society. You can be texting someone or talking to them on Facebook and have a great conversation with them. Then you go to talk to them in real life and find them to be practically mute. Using the telephone to talk to someone certainly does not have the same effect. Because of the emotion that can be portrayed through your voice, your thoughts can be so much more complex, efficient, and meaningful. But there is still one more thing to add to this conversation. What about video? After being able to communicate through sound, video is the next logical step. And yet it seems every time we have this capability, we turn it down in favor of text. If audio can greatly change your communication, how much more will facial expressions and hand gestures impact the way you communicate your ideas? Now, don't get me wrong. Text communication has its place, and I use it a lot, but it should not mark the end for other types of communication. We can all make a better effort to communicate our ideas and emotions in the best ways available to us. And never forget how texting can and is negatively impacting communication across the